Okay, welcome into a special edition, a Labor Day edition, fourth and one podcast. So, thank you for spending time out of your holiday weekend. I hope everyone had a fun, safe holiday weekend. Kind of the last kickoff here. We got, NFL football here, 4 days, Thursday night. We just had a good weekend of college football. We got college again coming up. High school football's in full season. Madden's out. I mean, hey, who doesn't love Madden, right? So, anyways, for real, hope you guys all had a good one, and thanks for tuning in. It's a little bit different of a format. Let me know if you like kind of these pre-made videos, or if you kind of prefer a live stream. Whoops. So if you prefer a live stream, let me know. I can stick to that. I just thought this was fun. I'm going to South Dakota. I'm leaving Friday. I won't be back till Monday, so I'm not even here while this video is being made. So I made this kind of after my game against Dove. So we'll talk about that quickly. So for those of you who just look at my stats and be like, what the hell happened? Yeah, I threw it 54 times. We abandoned the run. We weren't getting much on the ground. Kind of my fault. I'd really only spent time labbing the pass game. So, unsurprisingly, when I'm not focusing on the run game in any practices, I might have run it maybe 50 times since I've gotten the game, as opposed to maybe 1,000 pass reps. So I just wasn't used to it. Go check out, I have a video up, second practice with the Bears, where we focus a lot more on the ground game, a lot more rushing, a lot more trying to push the ball vertically. That way we can just kind of focus more on having a more well-balanced offensive attack and approach. So let me know what you think, again, about the podcast format as well. We spread the ball around well. Tyquan Thornton, 6 catches, 55 yards, 7 for 71 for Johnson, 973 for Mooney, 11-108 for Montgomery. And that's the thing with Montgomery. Even though I wasn't running the ball a ton, he was, those are screens, those are checkdowns, swings, flats, out routes, curls, things like that. So that's kind of an extension of the run game, but I got to run it more. Defensively, we did fine. We had 4 picks. Edmonds, Evans, Brisker, Fulton, 3 traded guys right there coming in huge for me. No sacks, so we got to figure out a way to get a pass rush. And then decent return game. So, but anyways, this is the fourth and one podcast. This isn't a Chicago Bears video, so let's kind of talk. We had a lot of interesting things happen, I think, to start the league. So, at this point, I can really only go over what's here. So again, I'm sorry that this is coming out on Labor Day and we're not getting all week one action kind of wrapped into things, but I'm not going to be here over Labor Day. And Dove, shout out Dove, he sat there and sent me a message, actually. It's what made me to think to do it, to do a podcast on it, so that everyone should be home on Labor Day. Well, joke's on you, I'm not home on Labor Day, Dove, so that's why it's going here. But it was a great idea to have it come out on Labor Day. So let's kind of talk the league schedule. I kind of briefly did a podcast touching on things into my stream, so it's kind of weird. I'll try to focus more on like a podcast, like once a week, maybe Thursday before Thursday Night Football, Wednesday, something like that, where I can try to get one in on a more consistent basis. It's just tough going back to school and having, your league to play in. You got a life outside of things. But anyways, we'll start with the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. This was a good game. Dallas ended up winning the game 24-21. Now, Wonka had every chance in this game. It was tied 21-21. Wonka is driving. He's midfield. Calls a play action from Gunn. He calls like play action cross, some play action shot play. Strip sacked by, I think it was Vita Vea. Game over. And he should have just not. You can't do these play action passes against the Buccaneers. You got to know better. So really, it just everyone struggled passing, in the first week. It's a new game, first game for a lot of people. But Dak 3 picks, Brady 3 picks, only 1 touchdown apiece, both under 215 passing yards. Leonard Fournette and Zeke did really good, though. Leonard Fournette had 100 yards, 6 yards of carry. Zeke 80 yards on 5 yards of carry. Prescott, Hardy, they're all getting in there. So it was a pretty solid performance by both on the ground game. Irv Smith, CeeDee Lamb, two of the big performers. Cameron Brate, Chris Godwin. He really spread the ball around. Vapo did. Now defensively, two players took this game over: Micah Parsons and Vita Vea. So you can see there for Vita Vea, 3 sacks. I believe he had one fourth. No, who forced the fumble? Was it Shaquille? Oh, Shaquille Barrett. Okay. Well, Shaquille Barrett either way still strip sacked, which again, you still got Shaquille Barrett and Vita Vea. But those two guys and Shaquille Barrett really, they took the game over. And when you've got a good pass rush like that, it makes it hard on your opponent because they have to alter their game plan. They can't hang on to the ball. You can't run as much play action. But it was a good game. We'll move on. Saints Falcons. This was a really good back and forth game. It was, I stopped watching in the 2.5 minutes left because Mad went up 2 scores to make it, I think, 48-35, something like that. And I was like, all right, game over, whatever. I flipped over to another game. I came back. It's a 1-score game, 48-41, and the Saints have the ball with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. So it's some key performers. Desmond Ridder really balled out in his rookie campaign. James Cook, again, balled out in his rookie campaign. Kamara, this was a huge game for the running backs. Kyle Pitts, Michael Thomas both had over 100 yards. Bryan Edwards had a really big play, I believe. Yeah, it was a 71-yard touchdown. So a really good game, especially, Mad, one of the top users of this game, and then Planned River, kind of a first performance here in the league. So way to show out. Now, this one just got done. Coach Smith upset Zach 35-24. Smith had up, and you can kind of see here, it was 28-7, and then Zach rattled off 14 unanswered to bring it 28-21, and then Smith iced the game with a touchdown. Zach got a field goal. Zach struggled this game. I mean, Smith didn't do the greatest either, but 3 touchdowns will help out, but Zach really struggled. 4 picks, completed just about 50% of his balls. That's not too good. Christian McCaffrey really didn't have much going on the ground, so Nick Chubb, he probably just ate up time of possession. I didn't really watch this game because it was really being played during my game, but yeah, 23 minutes to 16 minutes. That's great time of possession there. So absolutely. Less turnovers. Even had more passing yards, too. So great job by Smith. That's a huge win for him, especially in that division that's so tough. We already went over my game. Snake and Rob, this is a good rivalry game here. Rob playing a lot closer than one might think, especially for it being Rob's first game of the year. Played really well with Burrow. 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, 400 yards. Kenny Pickett, a nice solid 200-yard, 3-touchdown, 2-pick game. Najee Harris had a solid game. Kenny Pickett, decent wheels, too. 26 yards there. Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and Pat Freiermuth were probably the top performers there. Jamar Chase, 7 for 70 is nice. Defensively, how did TJ Watt do? Is that a goose egg for TJ Watt? Okay, well, hey, it happens. So that was a good game. 10-point win by Snake over Rob. Steelers moved to 1-0. Bengals moved to 0-1, facing a desperate 0-1 Cowboys team who just traded for Eric Kendricks from the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings have traded Eric Kendricks and a future and a current 5th-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for Leighton Vander Esch, a 6th-round pick, and one other lower overall player, I believe. I cannot remember who. So that's a nice trade to look forward to. Bengals are going up against a desperate and improved Cowboys defense. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions had a fun game. It was close-ish a little bit going into halftime, a 7-point game. Then they kind of pulled away, doubled the score. Jimbo scored a touchdown to kind of make it a little bit more respectable. No one really played super well in this game. Teddy Bridgewater came in and did some nice things, and he is the starter moving forward. Coach Jimbo confirmed it. Teddy Bridgewater will be the starting quarterback moving forward, who played really well. 8 of 9 passing, touchdown, no picks. What I want to highlight on defense is Robert Spillane. 2 touchdowns, or excuse me, holy God, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, and I would accredit him 1 more forced fumble. You see, Malcolm Rodriguez gets credit for it, but he had him like held up, and Spillane came in and hit stick forced another fumble. So either way, basically, in my opinion, 4 turnovers caused, but Madden will only show 3. He would be, in my opinion, the defensive player of the week at this moment. I'd have to look and check everything else first, and we'll kind of do that here. But really good. But now let's talk a little bit more about the winning team, not a tanking loser. A.J. Brown had a really nice game, 7 touchdowns, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. So 7 receptions, 112, 2. That's a great first game. Good job, Narwhal, moving to 1-0 on the year. Another game that just happened, the Colts spanked the Texans. Oh, my God. Time of possession, 23-17, essentially. How'd Jonathan Taylor do? Matt Ryan had 143 yards, Goff 17. Mills was horrendous. Kyle Allen was just as bad. Jonathan Taylor only 26 yards rushing. Wow. Kareem Hunt. Oh, wrong team. Yeah, the Colts really didn't get the run game going. Calvin Ridley, they traded for Calvin Ridley. That was a nice little addition. Had a nice splash play there. Now, what's worse? Colts. They lost in this game. DeForest Buckner, Michael Pierce, or not Michael, was it Michael Pierce? Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman Jr., and then they also lost a corner. It was Amani Oruwari, I believe. So they lost 3 guys this game, so they won, but at what cost? We get down next, and I got to scroll back down. Patriots and Dolphins, utter domination. I'm not going to go into this one. Marcus Mariota had 2 touchdowns, no picks off the bench. Tua, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Mac Jones threw 4 picks. Was kind of a sloppy, ugly game all around. Jaguars Commanders, kind of last game. They're being played tomorrow evening. Ravens Jets is currently underway. We got a few more games to get through here. The Giants beat the Titans 34-17. This is a nice one. Proto needed to come out swinging here. He's got a rough roster. Time of possession was pretty equal, which is nice to see. Daniel Jones, really bad. 2 touchdowns, 5 picks, but when your opponent throws 7 interceptions and no touchdowns, that ain't good. Saquon Barkley, a nice first game back off his injuries, 111 yards. Derrick Henry really couldn't get a whole lot going when you're throwing 7 picks. It's hard to really have a strong running game. Next up here, the Kansas City Chiefs won a nail-biter 37-31 over the Arizona Cardinals. Relic coming out strong. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Mahomes, 1 touchdown, no picks, which is good. Playing a clean game, which is going to be huge. DeAndre Swift having 101 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Great to see that. Marquise Brown had over 100 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. Travis Kelce also having a touchdown there as well. Great performance by both teams. NFC West all started off 0-1, so not a huge loss for Relic losing that close game. He can bounce back. Next week, Manny getting a nice win to continue to push forward in that AFC playoff race. Chargers and Raiders. Chargers winning 18-17. This was a lot closer than a lot of people thought. A lot of people, the spread, I think, was 8.5 points for the Chargers. So Raiders covering the spread here by a good amount. Herbert struggling out the gate. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Spiller and Eckler not getting really anything going on the ground. Between the two of them, 13 carries for about 36 yards, something like that. So under about 4 yards per carry. Keenan Allen, Darren Waller, Gerald Everett had nice games, though. So Chargers moving to 1-0, Raiders falling to 0-1. The Vikings spanked the Packers. Absolutely demolished them. And they sat Eric Hendricks this game, and they didn't even have Leighton Vander Esch yet because the Cowboys played and they didn't want to risk injury to have the trade ruin. Kirk Cousins played very well. 11 pass attempts, 10 of 11, 166 yards, 1 touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, 4 picks, rough game for him. Delvin Cook really didn't do a whole lot on the ground. I just assume a lot of short fields there. They ran the ball a lot, the Packers did. Romeo Dubs, top receiver, Jefferson, whatnot. Now on defense, since this was kind of a domination by the Vikings, let's take a. Now they lost Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter for 4 weeks. Tough luck. They got their next 3 games they'll be out, I believe, is how it'll work. So rough win for them. They get a nice win over a divisional opponent, but before we'll look at the Vikings schedule here. After that, the Denver Broncos beat the Seattle Seahawks 37-14, and I believe this is our last game before I get into it. Yep, that's the last game, and then we'll look at the Vikings schedule quick. Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks in his return. Just kind of, Melvin Gordon went off. 158 rush yards. Javonte Williams, 34 rushing yards, but 2 touchdowns. Just overall complete dominance. DK Metcalf had a really good game, though. What was the time of possession? Time of possession that game was about 25-15, so pretty significant. Okay, we talked about the Vikings losing Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith. Huge. In one game, they just lost 3 guys on their defense with abilities. 2 due to injury, 1 due to trade, but still. So if we go in here to, well, we should look at their schedule. So if we go into team schedule, we will see the Vikings. They now play the Eagles in Narwhal, the Lions in Jimbo, the Saints in Planned River. So they should be back for the game against me, unfortunately, the Bears. And then they get back as well for Cody and the Dolphins, where you kind of really will need those pass rushers. Then they go into a bye week and have the Cardinals, Commanders, Bills, Cowboys, Pats, Jets, Lions, Colts, Giants, Packers, Bears. So if you got to have them miss some games, missing the Eagles, Lions, and Saints isn't the worst thing in the world. Now, if we want to talk a little bit about best performers so far, if we talk quarterbacks, you could say Fields and Burrow. Burrow had a better week than Fields, slightly due to having 1 more touchdown and 1 fewer interception. But if I were to talk about kind of the best performing quarterbacks, Mariota honestly is up there. 2 touchdowns, no picks, and limited action. Russell Wilson had a very good game, as well did Desmond Ridder. And looking at all this here, looking at the facts, the stats, Desmond Ridder's my top passer of the week so far. 12 of 22, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 262 yards. Only took 1 sack. I really, completion percentage was a little low, but everyone else kind of just threw too many interceptions for me. He kept his interceptions nice and low. Runner-up would be Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. They just didn't throw as much to be qualified, in my opinion. Top runners this week. Number 1, James Cook, 179 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Number 2, Alvin Kamara, 134 rush yards, 2 touchdowns, both from the same game. Also want to give a shout-out to DeAndre Swift, 101 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, in a crucial Week 1 win over the Cardinals. Receiving, Jamison Williams, 180 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 130 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Those would be your top receiving performers, as well as Marquise Brown, 113 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Defensively, your top pass rusher is going to be Vita Vea. Disruptive force, 3 sacks. I thought it was a forced fumble, but 3 sacks at least. Impact cover player, Nick Cross and Marcus Peters, both 3 interceptions. Did either of them have any touchdowns? Yeah, Nick Cross had 2 touchdowns. Incredible. So, anyways, I hope you like the podcast. This is kind of a new thing. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Hope y'all had the good time watching some football, having some good food, spending time with your family, and we will see you for the next podcast. Again, let me know if you want it live or if you like a little video like this. This just kind of went over a little bit of Week 1 recap. So, thank you for watching.